Hey everyone! Huge welcome to your very first day of your software testing internship. I am absolutely pumped to have you joining the team. Look, as quality assurance testers, we are literally the final line of defense before our software hits the real world. No pressure, right? To get you totally up to speed, we're diving straight into a hands-on explainer today, Mastering Test Case Creation. This is a purely practical tutorial designed to take you from total beginner to someone who can systematically guarantee our software is basically bulletproof. All right, let's run through the agenda for today. We're looking at scenarios versus test cases, the test case structure itself, positive and negative testing, boundary value testing, and then we'll wrap it all up with a step-by-step practical example. But before we get completely lost in the weeds with formatting and technical jargon, I want to totally flip how you view the digital world. Ask yourself, how do you actually break a login page? Like, really break it. To be an amazing tester, you have to ditch the mindset of a regular user who just wants to check their notifications. You're a QA tester now. Your entire job is to actively hunt for bugs. You've got to ask, well, what happens if I do exactly what the developer didn't expect? Okay, let's kick things off with Section 1, Scenarios versus Test Cases. We'll start big picture. Basically, a test scenario is a super high-level description of what needs to be tested. You can think of it as a representation of a real-world user action. It's not going to hold your hand and tell you exactly what button to click or what to type. It just gives you the overarching goal. It's the map we use before zooming way, way in. So really, the difference here comes down to scale. The test scenario is the what. It's high level, like verify login functionality. But the test case, that's the how. It is incredibly detailed. It's step by step. For instance, enter a valid username and password. If the scenario is the map, the test case is the turn-by-turn GPS telling you exactly when to brake and steer. You absolutely need both, but you're going to spend most of your time writing and executing those highly detailed test cases. Which brings us right to Section 2, the test case structure. Your absolute best friend on the job is going to be a structural matrix, just like this one. A standard test case format always has a few core columns. You've got a unique test case ID, so we don't lose track of it, a super clear description, the exact steps to execute, the expected results, which is what the software should do, then the actual results, what the software really did when you push the button, and lastly, the pass or fail status. If expected matches actual, boom, it's a pass. If they don't, you just caught a bug and it's a fail. To break that down a bit more, here are the non-negotiable elements you need to master. And let me tell you, clarity is everything here. You absolutely need a clear ID, a specific objective, and your prerequisites, like user must already have a registered account. You also have to specify the exact input data, maybe something like test user 123. And finally, definitively state the expected outcome. If you write this perfectly, honestly, any other intern could sit right at your desk, follow your steps, and run the exact same test without needing to ask you a single question. That's the goal. Moving right along to Section 3, positive and negative testing. So this completely frames how we approach our jobs. Positive testing is the happy path. You use valid data to make sure the software actually does what it was built to do. But negative testing, that's the hacker path. That's when you deliberately use invalid data just to see if the system handles the error gracefully. Because testing isn't just checking that things work perfectly. It's actively trying to make things fail, safely, without, completely crashing the entire server. Let's ground this with a basic login page. Positive testing is a breeze. You type in the correct registered password, you hit enter, and the system logs you in. Awesome. But negative testing? That's putting in a totally wrong password, mashing your keyboard with special characters, or literally just leaving it blank and smashing the login button. The system shouldn't crash. It should just give you a nice, polite red error message saying, invalid credentials. And guess what? Both of those paths require their very own dedicated test cases. Okay, Section 4, boundary value testing. This is where we find the really sneaky stuff. Boundary value testing means you are explicitly testing the extreme edges of input ranges. Why? Because developers are human, and they make mistakes right at the edges of their logic. They might accidentally type less than in the code instead of less than or equal to. By hovering right on that boundary line, we expose those hidden logic bugs instantly. Take the number 8, for example. Let's say our system demands a password that is exactly a minimum of 8 characters long. As a smart tester, you aren't going to waste time testing a 20-character password and then a 3-character password. You are going to focus all your energy squarely on that specific boundary number 8.
If the rule is an 8-character minimum, we test just below the line with 7 characters. That should absolutely fail. Then we test exactly on the boundary with 8 characters. That should pass. And we test just one step above it with 9 characters. Also a pass. By checking those 3 specific targeted points, 7, 8, and 9, you completely prove the logic is solid without having to manually test every single number up to infinity. It's just a huge time saver.
Let's tie all of this theory together with Section 5, a step-by-step practical example.
Here is what your actual, real-world workflow looks like. Step 1, you write the overarching test scenario. Step 2, you define your chronological steps and your exact input data. Step 3, you clearly document the expected result. We are going to build this right now for a simple login attempt. And bam, here is the final product. It's a perfect test case matrix. Step 1, navigate to the login URL. Step 2, enter a valid email, say intern@company.com. Step 3, enter a valid 8-character password using that boundary knowledge we just talked about. Step 4, click login. And the expected results? The user dashboard successfully loads. It's completely logical, totally clean, and leaves zero room for misinterpretation. This right here is exactly what professional test case writing looks like. Honestly, you crushed it. You officially made it through onboarding. You now know the difference between scenarios and test cases, how to build a rock-solid structure, the value of the happy and hacker paths, and how to snipe those bugs right at the boundary lines. So I'm going to leave you with this. Now that you have the blueprint, what system are you going to break and test first? Seriously, look at the apps you use every single day. Put on that QA tester hat and just start asking, what if? Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer. Now get out there and go find some bugs.